recognizing speech groups that will disappear within 20 years. Some people see the future as incredibly exciting, filled with new technologies and opportunities, but others do not. And we want to raise some concerns with you guys. Oxford University researchers found that 45% of the current jobs will disappear over the next decade, mainly because of automation or upgrades to the point where only a fraction of the workforce is required. In this video, we'll discuss just a few of the jobs that will radically change by the next decade and the years that follow as the environment continues to change. You might want to consider alternatives if you're currently employed in either of these industries. Don't say we didn't warn you. Thus, in the next 10 to 20 years, there will probably be 9 jobs that disappear. Number 1. Drivers. The job of a driver of any kind of machinery, automobile, or vehicle will be gone soon. Taxis, buses, trucks, Uber drivers, and delivery drivers are all on the verge of being automated soon. There are 15.5 million trucks and 2 million tractor-trailers in the US alone, and 14 million people work in the trucking industry, out of which 10 million are drivers. These are the people who'll be pushed out. We already have the technology to make a self-driving truck, so it doesn't need to stop for rest. This is already backed by the German government, and they're betting big on self-driving trucks. You know, if you've seen our Tesla video, they're going to make Tesla cars completely self-driving. According to Musk himself, it's going to take a year or 2 to get the tech right, and 3 more to get government approval. Major car manufacturers are moving to electric and self-driving cars, and those who don't will soon be left behind. Riding a car will be like getting in an elevator. You just press a button and it's gone. Now what's going to happen to the estimated 20 million people? If they want to have their livelihoods based on being active drivers, they'll have to reinvent themselves multiple times. If you're 20 to 30 years old, that might be easy, but what will a taxi driver who's 50 or over cope with? We'll see if these people can switch from taxi driving to 3D modeling for virtual worlds. Number 2. Farmers. Farming was huge back then. It's changed a lot though. The underdeveloped parts of the world may still see farming as a labor-intensive process, but on a macro level, it's already automated with a few specially trained people operating heavy machinery via wireless connections from the comfort of the office. The old days were when you had to measure your land physically, weed it out, and then harvest and transport the final product. Now we measure things with drones or satellite imagery. The soil is already treated against weeds, or the seeds are already weed-resistant. Harvesting and planting can be done in a small fraction of the time it used to, thanks to specialized hardware, and the trucks carrying out will be self-driving really soon, bearing the title of farmer in the near future. Because only a few people will control what you eat, they will be as highly ranked as bankers or hedge fund managers. You're already too late to the party if this sounds ridiculous to you, that only a few people will be responsible for our food. Today, only 10 companies control nearly every large food and beverage brand. You probably eat something from one of these companies every day. Nestle, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Danone, General Mills, Kellogg's, Mars, Associated British Foods and Mondelez, welcome to the future. Number 3. Printers and publishers. You don't need to get your news from the papers anymore. You can get it from Twitter or live streams. The newspaper is dead. Traditional media is suffering due to the internet eating up everything. There's a fight between traditional magazines, but they're fighting to survive as a whole. Our video on Forbes magazine shows you how, despite their strong brand, they're going under. The New York Times is a great example of a publisher that has successfully implemented a paywall for its readers to consume their written content, despite their massive push into digital media. Information is free, and very few publishers have enough trust in their brand to keep them going. Imagine if we had to charge you $1 to find out what the most expensive car in the world is on Lux.com. We'd be out of business. Luxury happens quicker than you can say it. As news sources democratize, big brands are struggling to find a place online. You don't get your news from TV networks unless you're over 50. While Trump watches Fox News, we're supporting Philip DeFranco's Patreon on YouTube. Number 4. Cashiers. 8 million people work as cashiers and in-store salespeople in America alone. These people are likely to lose their jobs sooner than they expect. There is still a supervisor in charge of the self-checkout stations, and they are sometimes buggy, but we're not far from a total takeover of this industry. You can make connections between the biggest commerce giants if you've been following what they're doing. Amazon bought Whole Foods for close to $14 billion. As part of its pilot program, Amazon is testing a corner store called Amazon Go, a place where you walk in, get what you need, and leave. Despite being automatically deducted from your credit card, sensors are on the rise, and the technology needs only to be a bit better than its human counterpart to be adopted. Additionally, AI cashiers can work 24/7 without bringing their personal dramas into the workplace. Number 5. Travel agents. What's the last time you went to a travel agency to book a flight? Skyscanner is taking over flight tickets, Booking.com is taking over hotel bookings, and Airbnb is taking over hotels. As a business, there's no need to hire someone to book our flights or accommodations. We can handle it ourselves. Who are you? Or, you can ask Siri to do it. Number 6. Manufacturing workers. In the Industrial Revolution, all those people who worked in the fields now work in factories, handcrafting the machines we need. As technology advanced, these same people became in charge of building machines that built other machines that would obliterate the need for humans. It's fun to compare how cars were made less than 100 years ago in Volkswagen's factories and how they are now. In the past, multiple people worked together to create the end product. Now, you're looking at simple software working. There will only be one human in the factory of the future, and one dog will keep the human from touching the machines. We heard this quote a while back, and it stuck with us. Number 7. Dispatchers. Despite the fact that you probably remember the days when you had to talk to someone by hand, an astonishing number of dispatchers still work today. It doesn't matter if you're a firefighter, dispatcher, or working with planes, police, or ambulances, the dispatcher's role is to coordinate the field operators so everything runs smoothly. Technology has already outperformed you at your job, and we're just figuring out how to deploy it. 5 years ago, you had to call someone for a cab. How do you ask for Uber or Lyft today? One algorithm coming into your dispatching niche, and you're gone. Number 8. Waiting tables and bartending. There's no guarantee that they'll all be gone, but most definitely have. Of course, social interaction is important, but it's not always the case. Sometimes you just want to sit down, have the food come at your table as soon as possible, enjoy a particular mix of alcoholic beverages, and then leave, and all of that can be replaced by a carefully documented algorithm and an iPad. This trend is spreading around the world, and more restaurants are getting on board. In our previous video about cool restaurants around the world to try, we mentioned a few of these places, but since then, the likes of Azah have taken over. Number 9. Bank tellers. Since our bank lady has always been so nice to me, we don't go there for social interaction anymore. Otherwise, we just check our balance. We don't go to the bank anymore, or very rarely if we need to. Smartphones enable us to deliver money to our employees' accounts automatically, without manually filling out forms. A bank account can be opened online with most banks in the world, and only if you need a specialized service you might have to meet in person, and even then you might be able to do it with a video call.